common. I hope you'll be able to follow up for the few cases that we'll discuss. Then finally, we'll wind up the session with a small case study that we have. So today we'll be looking. Basically, our objective will cover. We try to describe the nutritional challenges of preterm. So, nutritional challenges. One is high metabolic rates, usually
This meeting is being recorded.
aspect of hypothermia, and due to that, they therefore require increased energy intake. So many a times their skin is not so turgid, and therefore they don't have enough adipose tissue to help them in insulation of their body, and this really will require them to have increased the neonates experience higher vital organs which require increased energy intake. Then, of course, we talk about the aspect of body temperature. Of course, there's aspect of regulation, and that's why if you enter the NICU, you find that it is quite warm. The temperature there is quite warm because we want the babies to be as more insulated as possible. And even those who cannot withstand the open air, the room temperature and all that, they end up being put into the incubators because we want to preserve as much body temperature as possible. So with their thin skin, they have increased evaporation, and therefore the fluid tend to escape quite often. So nutritional challenges of preterm. So we'll look at them, quite a list that we've listed here. We might not be able to look at all of very small stomach capacity that function of the nutrient metabolism. So feed them, then they might end up having, again, if you under a calculator to do some calculations. NBU and NICU is one of the areas that you must do calculations. So feeding is much important, and due to the capacity, the small capacity of the stomach, therefore you need to calculate how much. Very small stomach capacity, the digestive challenges. Of course, we have slow gastric empty and stool passage. Many a times neonates experience delayed passage of stool. Can be caused, of course, by either indigestion or their stomach juices is not able to break down and stool passage. Of course, we have slower upper and lower intestinal motility. So this takes time because, again, the aspect of peristalsis is not usually achieved. We talk about what we call intestinal fragility, a high risk of colitis. So most of this is very, very common condition that neonates experience. And of course, that is due to the fragility of the intestine. Of course, liver immaturity, low bile production. So I hope up to this moment we are able to understand how we produce is produced. Red blood cells broken down. So many others before it is expected that after the red blood cells are into the body. So many times you find the liver of the preterm are not able to adequately break down this the dead red blood cells, and this one is due to maybe the liver was not fully um, uh, fully mature enough. So again, the aspect of bile production, low bile production, remember the bile duct where it is now used for fat emulsification. So this also might have a higher impact, higher challenges in aspect of of digestion of fats. Of course, we have digestive enzyme deficiency like lipase and disaccharides. So lipase is responsible for the digestion of lipid, and of course, disaccharides enzymes are usually digestion of carbohydrate starts in the mouth through the salivary amylase, and of course, when there is a partial digestion, then when it goes to the stomach, then we have the aspect of it being broken down from uh, uh, from gastric amylase and all that. But again, polysaccharides are broken down to disaccharides, and then of course in the stomach we find mostly of what we call disaccharides enzymes. So we have deficiency of that. Of course, lipase is responsible for breakdown of lipids after emulsification by the bile salts. So you find if we have deficiency of lipids, and therefore the babies are at risk of even having steatorrhea, which is passing off of fat in stool. Immature digestion and absorption of carbohydrate, protein, and lipid, therefore high risk of malabsorption, especially fat, the previous point that we discussed. So the neonate preterms experience immature malabsorption, especially fat malabsorption due to deficiency of lipase enzyme. We have inability to coordinate suckling and swallowing, of course, due to breathing. So they are not in a position, most of preterms are not in a position to balance breathing and suckling at the same time. So they sometimes either forget to suckle because they want to concentrate on breathing, and sometimes they forget to breathe when they are concerned. To coordinate the two, we expect that they can still suckle at the same time they breathe, and that for preterms is very common. Low esophageal sphincter pressure. So the pressure from the esophagus. Remember, the stochastic muscles that move downwards. But so if we have links, move slowly to the stomach. Therefore, this is one of the commonest preterm challenges. We have GI tract style and therefore immunological. Expect that the GIT, of course, life probiotics that are able to also help us in nutritional uh, challenges of preterm. The next organs are not fully developed and they have experience and of waste product because the kidneys are immature to offer enough ultrafiltration. So glomerular filtrate rate you find sometimes is affected for preterms because of the, 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 the nephrons which are not so much enough to help in the aspect of water reabsorption and of course secretion, excretion of waste product. We have aspect of vulnerable to excess renal and dehydration. So you find because reabsorption is not properly done, so you have a lot of solute within the kidneys, and again you also having aspect of dehydration because again the absorption is not well coordinated. The aspect of renin angiotensin aldosterone quickly. I think the RAS have UVCs really pressure of nutritional demand. So the only problems that preterms experience. But again, there are those external, I can call them exogenous factors that can also affect the feeding and also the nutritional demand of preterms. One of them is poor sucking and swallowing reflexes, only developed at 32 to 34 weeks gestation. So you find preterms born below that, they might not be able to suckle adequately. So because of that poor suckling and swallowing reflux, of course, we have poor tolerance of feed and potential aspiration. So this is very common for neonates, and sometimes this is why sometimes we insert NG tube to help just in feeding, because sometimes many times the experience aspiration, and this, if not well looked, they can also end up having aspiration pneumonia. We have fluid restrictions imposed. So out of the ordinary due to maybe protocols that are not well clear. You find many a times the aspect of fluid restriction for neonate, for the reason not well understood. It could be maybe there are no well protocols the in the facility that maybe the neonates are quite prone to the aspect of dehydration, and of course we have a aspect of mineral and full of calcium, zinc. So it is important prior to be able to have the liquid micronutrients transferred fully from the mother to the mineral and micronutrient level are quite low. And of course, reserves